Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. My name's Jade, and this is How to App on iOS. And today we're taking a look at the Jamp Percussive by Jan Maes. It's delightful. So let's OJ. Hello and welcome to the show. My name is Jade and this is How to App on iOS, and I hope you're doing okay. Woohoo. Everyone good? I'm good. I'm tired, very tired. Worked really hard yesterday getting a whole bunch of pre-recorded demos ready for the latter half of this week. That's the way I'm going to handle that this week for pre-records. And what do you know, as I'm trying to weigh through them all and get everything caught up, more apps drop, don't they? So, 4Pockets dropped a brand new app too, which I kind of knew was coming anyway, but it came out yesterday called Font Stack, and it's it's pretty damn cool. And Cubasis was updated also. Now you can actually go, if you have Cubase on a Cubase 14 on your Mac or your PC, you can now open up Cubasis 3 on your iPad, save a project, and open it up over on your computer and back and forward, back and forward. So that's pretty cool. I was setting up a pre-recorded demo for that yesterday and installing Cubase on my PC and all that jazz. So we got lots of stuff coming up. I've got 2 pre-recorded videos already done in the bank. They'll drop over the next few days. I think that's how we're going to do it. I'm just trying to get back into a rhythm here on the channel of doing live streams and pre-records. And I think we'll record them all early in the week and then dump them later in the week kind of thing. I think that's the best way to go. Plus, I'm really snowed down at the moment editing the episode 1 of season 6 of Walk With Me that kicks off this Friday, US UK time. Back for another season and documenting the whole trip that Brad was here recently. Brad example. So it's, just so you know, I think I end up getting about 2.5 hours of footage of me and Brad hanging out. So I've got to edit all that down in the next day and have that finished and uploaded. So chaos here at the studio. All right, all of that said and out the way, let's say hello to folks and then we'll get into this really cool app. Thomas Christ, always the legend, always here slinging the links. Boom, SuperChats, SuperStickers, Patreon. If you become a Patreon, $5 a month, you can win a lot of these apps that I talk about here because Patrons support me, keep the whole channel flowing. So that's why I asked developers if they will give me some codes to give to my Patreons. And this app is no different. There's a link to get Jamp Percussive. I can't wait to run through this with you. E Urban, hello. Jenny Jolivet, Dave Studio 6+1, g'day. MC, I like it dark. Ed Zielinski, Jan Maes, the developers here. Awesome. Some people would get nervous about that. I don't get nervous. Maybe I am. Who knows? So anyway, now this has been out for a little while, and I'm really glad I held out on not doing a show on it. And it wasn't because I did hold off. As most of you know, I had Brad here from Canada for 3 weeks, and it kind of threw a spanner in everything that I would normally do. So some apps got left behind because we had other content here for the 3 weeks, filling up slots. But I'm so glad I waited because it got some really cool updates over time. And it's so much better than when it dropped. So it makes my demo have longer lasting appeal because it's more current. And yeah, it's just in a much better place. So we're going to take a look at how much it is. Thomas has slung the link in the chat there. Thanks, Thomas, for Jamp Percussive. It is right here in front of you. Free to download. Now, when I say that, it works. All of it works, but there are these intermittent seconds that it just goes silent for a little second, then comes back. So, you know, if you like it, you can test it at least. And then if you want to pay for it, the in-app purchase is $7.99 to own it outright. It's not a subscription or anything like that. It's just a payment. more apps should have this feature where you can demo this and get an idea on if it's going to work for you. It just makes more sense. But here we are, and it doesn't happen too much. Dom Father, hello to you. All right, so what is this? Well, it's a drum machine. It's a drum sequencer. It's all done with modeling, so no real drum sounds in there. It's all physical modeling, and yeah, it's just really cool. It's got a whole lot of generative stuff going on with it, which helps it feel like a real drummer at times, which is pretty neat. There's a few things I'd like to see fixed, but we'll talk about those a little bit later. And they are, as always, to do with Logic. Logic is a pain in the ass. I love Logic. It is my go-to DAW, but sometimes, man, just a pain in the ass. So I've got a little demo of this thing rocking here. I've got a bass line, I've got some guitar over here, and I've just got Jamp Percussive here in the middle. I've got it set to a 4 on the floor, so we've got a sequencer here with hi-hat, snare, kick, and ride, crash, tom. There's nothing else in the other section, so we're just doing a simple beat, and I'm going to mutate it. And there's a little mutate button down the bottom here, which mutates things. And we'll just hit the mutate, add in some solos and stuff. So here's our generative section down the bottom. And we'll just see what it does to this song. What do you think? Oh, shut up. Let's mute. Okay, wicked stuff. So let's get into it and show you where everything is and how everything works. Now remember, as I said, this is all modeled. Kicks, hi-hats, rides, snare, toms, none of these are real instruments. It's all completely modeled, so you can actually go in and mess with each of these sounds so much so and go crazy with your creations. First of all, we'll start over here with our presets section. So when you click on this, you are given your presets, and you've got factory presets. So there's a nice little selection of them here to go through. User presets, I have one already saved here in my user presets. What I've done is I've created an init patch that is mapped to the keys that I want. So you can map these pads to whatever key you want on your keyboard or however you want to do this. Of course, you can save presets, delete presets, share presets, export all your presets and import them. Pretty simple to do. So you could hit export. It's going to send them all to wherever you want. You hit import presets. It's going to open up a little folder and ask where are they, so you can import them. So someone else might make a whole bunch of presets. They can send them to you via email. You can import them. Happy days. Easy peasy. Let's quickly just hit play on this, and I'm just going to run through some of these presets. They may go with the music or not. Hey, Pete Johns. So this one here, obviously you can hear, is more of like a snare going on. And you can see, if we click on the snare, you can see what's happening here. We've got one kick getting kicked. So here's a rolling rhythm. A rolling rhythm number 2. This one's called 7 Steps. Bit of a shuffle. And what we were listening to earlier was a 4 on the floor. Let me get this back in time. We got a funk one. Hey, 7 Dust. Some crazy hi-hats. Hats and cowbells. Boots and cats and hats and cowbells. More cowbells. So this kind of weird piano sound. Remember, this is all modeled so you can create pretty wild sounds. We've got this popcorn. Caravan. And a techno to bring things home. Okay, so there's your presets. These are going to make a lot more sense once we get into further. I'm going to head back up here and hit the init patch and close this out. So that's our preset section. You can flick left and right with your presets. So you've got little arrows. You can go left and right to bounce between them if you don't want to have this open page, because this takes up quite a bit of the page here. You can see if we move left and right, we're going through presets, obviously. And when we get back to this one where it's disappeared, we're back to the init patch. That makes life super simple instead of having the big one open. Now you've got 2 pages here. This is the synth, and then we've got the sequencer. We're going to focus on the synth to kick things off first. And then lastly over here we have a channel section. So this is a mixer pretty much. You've got some stuff up here, some settings for where you want your buses to go. So you can choose how these, you've got 16 tracks. You can choose how you want them assigned to what tracks. You can come in here and bus 1's the master. You've got all these options to come in and mess with all of these. It's quite comprehensive as we go down. Here, hi-hat mixer level, so you can change all this stuff. And you've got MIDI learns for everything down here. MIDI learns, clear it out. Very simple controls. You're not going to get too lost with this stuff. In our mixer, we have a mute. We have a solo and a decay button. So we'll talk more about that a little bit later. You can change the pitch within here, and you can change the steps of an individual sequence, but we'll come back to that later. Let's close out of here and come back to our synth. Give me a second here. Oh man, I've still got this weird cough. Okay, so as I said, all this is modeled. These aren't samples. So here's my kick, snare. We've got 2 toms, hi-hat, hi Joe Glenn, a ride, crash, and of course a cowbell. And you can, as you see, when I click on each of these, all the settings up here change for each of them, yeah? So they've got their own settings. And if you pay attention closely enough, you'll see when I'm on anything that's like a kick, snare, a tom, anything like that, this little section here is lit up called membrane. But if I click on anything that's a cymbal, it changes from membrane to cymbal. So you can flick between these. So membranes are going to be for more things like toms, kicks, snares, and cymbals are going to be for things like hi-hats, rides, crashes, and the cowbell comes under membrane as well too. So now you can probably see here, we've got some blank ones in here too. Right. Now the beautiful thing is you can move these wherever you want. So as you see, when I click on the kick, it says kick here, and all of these settings change for that kick. But if I click here, there's nothing there. I can come in and move that kick to here by clicking kick. And now you see that kick has moved over here. So you can move these around wherever you want, basically. There's our kick back here. And not only that, you'll see next to, so if I come back to our kick here, we'll see this is set to C#2, right? So its MIDI is set to there. So if we jump over to an overhead view, so you can see what's going on with a keyboard, we'll make sure this is all plugged in. I think it is. Input, Arturia. So we're set to a C#2 is giving us this kick. Now I might not want that to be there. I want this kick to be at C2. I want it to be here, yeah? And we can do that very easily by MIDI learning. Let's go full screen for a second. So over here there's a MIDI learn. I'm going to click this, and then all I need to do is tap the key that I want this to be assigned to. And now that kick is assigned to C2. Done. Now I might want the snare to be over here. Again, I can click on the snare, click MIDI learn, tap, and we've got our snare there. Might want the hi-hat moved. We want to hit MIDI learn, and we're going to put this one here. So now already you can see we've got so you can map these however you want on your keyboard, and you can move them around here on the pads as well. So lots of customization. Lastly, along this section here, before we get into what all these do, we have a silent mode, because it may get annoying for you if you say you're using your keyboard, your external keyboard, to do all this, and every time you tap on a pad to switch between them, you don't want them to make that sound. There's a little silence mode here. I can click on this, and now every time I tap on one of these pads, it selects it for me, but it doesn't play the hit. Because sometimes for some people that may get annoying, yeah? So you can turn on and off silence mode. Now it's back. Clear? I hope so. Clear as mud, as they say. All right, let's go through. We'll work on this kick for a little bit and run through what all these do. So obviously up the top here we've got a pitch. Now for moving these up and down, so I'll just show you with my fingers. Up and down will give you a very fast movement, yeah, on the knob. I know a lot of people do this. They see a knob and try to turn it like a knob, right? They try and move it around in a, just forget that. It's not the way to go. Up and down, yeah? Up and down, you can see where that's moving really fast. But if I move left and right, you get a slower, much more precise way to draw in these pitches, yeah? So if we hit this kick, we can get pretty damn low. Or pretty high and tight on that skin. So yeah, the membranes are going to be the skins, and we have a decay. So you can get nice long decays on there. You've got a low pass. You got an overtone gain. I like that there. At any time, you can double tap any of these and they'll reset back to their original value. You got an overtone for the pitch. Now watch. So this is the overtone gain, and then you've got an overtone pitch here. Also, you've got a pitch bend. We've also got some noise, so if we're looking at a snare or anything like that, you can add some rattle in there. And you can go in and change the pitch of that noise. And there's even a noise envelope. Right, so the lower that is down, it's going to cut off. And we can actually even control the mallet. So the hardness of that mallet, we've got velocity, overall velocity, and a gain for individual tracks as well. Remember, double tap to bring anything back to what it was. And those are the controls for that. I'm just going to come in here, and what I'm going to do is just go to my presets quickly and load up my init mapped, because all these are already mapped to my keyboard. Let's take a look at the hi-hats. So these are the cymbal setups here. So you've got your cymbal pitch. Oh, we're looking at the hi-hat now. So your decay, really long decays. High pass. So you can see bouncing between the high pass, when it's turned up, you're getting more of a hi-hat. If we take out that decay, it's a tighter hat. But if we pull this back, the high pass, you're getting more of that ride kind of crash sound happening. We also have the timbre attack. So with the attack, like you would normally use, a longer attack if you're using stuff like a pad or something like this. But the results with something like a crash here or a hi-hat is almost like a scrape across. Really cool stuff. If we change the mallet, so we've got a crash delay. We've got noise as well. You can change the mallet to a softer touch. Very, very cool stuff. The sky's the limit with this stuff. I'm just going to come back and hit my preset again. So we're back at our hi-hat being the way it is. And again, same with the ride. All of these work the same with each of the crashes. So if we come into our crash, we can change. Where's the crash? I've got my crash there. So if you want more of a ride on that crash, or even with our ride here, there's our ride. You can get more of that bell ride happening. the snare you want to come in and add a bit of noise, a bit more noise to it. Completely up to you. You can just manifest whatever drums you would like. You've got also an overall volume up the top here for the overall mix of the drums. Plus, I'm so glad when this first came out, I'm pretty sure it only had this color, and I remember opening it and going, "Whee, too much." I'm so happy there's a dark mode. It's the little things, man. Like, I wear glasses. I hate bright colors these days, bright stuff, you know. So thank you for the dark mode. Makes me very, very happy. So here's our kit. Let's get into sequencing, yeah? Because this is where all the fun starts. Hey, covered by CQ and anyone else I may have missed hanging out. Let's bounce over to the sequencer. How do we get to the sequencer? That is up here. So you can, chances, I tried many light colors and nothing seems to work. I just think we're in the age of everything's dark mode now, because, you know, hey, we live in a world at the moment where every single day, look at this, look at this, look at this, flash, 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 flash. Look at this crazy news thing that you just should concern you. But anyway, here's something else. So I think it's nice to have dark stuff because there's so much just flashing shit going on in the world. And, well, that's just my opinion. Dark is the way. Much easier on the eyes too. Yeah, I think we're all getting old as well. So if you're young and your eyes are okay, fuck off. Lucky you. Right. Hey, Mateus, what's going on? So to get to your sequencer, you click up here. This will bring up your sequencer. And you can see here, there's nothing in the sequencer right now. How do you get across to each of the instruments? I'm glad you asked. Across the top here are all the instruments in your sequence. Hi-hat, snare, kick, and they light up as you press them. Right, so here's all your instruments. And hi-hat, snare, kick. You see there's nothing in these at the moment. So if I hit play, there's nothing. There's nothing going on. It's that's the end of dog racing. All right. Let's cover a few things before we get into all of this. You've got an overall tempo. So because this is locked currently to the door, this is running in AUv3 mode. If I try and change the tempo, it's just going to bounce back here because it's locked to 110 up here. You can change the overall steps. So currently we're set to 16 steps. You can pull this back and, you know, make it however many steps you want. But this will be for the overall project. Just remember that. This is the overall project. And we have a swing button here too if you want to add some swing to. We'll get to all these mutate things in a moment. You can go in, this is really cool, and set individual channels at different step lengths. And you can do that by hitting the channels. And each instrument here, so your hi-hat, snare, kick, they have their own steps down the bottom. So I could come in and bring this one down to 3. And then when I come back to the sequencer, you'll see that, where's our hats? You can see these hats are much shorter and this snare is all the way. Kicks, I've only got a few here. So you can get some real syncopated stuff. So you've got the power to mix and match and it's not so boring, yeah, if that's what you want to do. So you can change those steps in the channels section if you want to get that kind of Euclidean kind of stuff going on and all of that. We'll come back to channels once again. Back to our sequencer. Of course, if I want to start creating something, I can just draw stuff in, right? So I can draw in some 4 on the floor kicks. And then once we hit play, we've got some kicks going on. You can make these how loud you want. And here's where you got to really pay attention to things though, yeah? And like anything, if you're making music, you should be paying attention to what you're doing. We're on the kick at the moment. Now, if I bounce over to the sequencer, I'm on the kick here, but if I click the snare, come back to the sequencer, I'm on the snare here. So this, I remember when I first got this wasn't the way. It was a little bit different. So if I came over here, let's hit the tom, come back to the sequencer, and our tom is selected. But I remember when I first got this, I don't think it was the way. So you'd have to make sure you're on the same instrument when you're bouncing back and forward. If you're making changes to the kick, say, you're like changing the pitch a little bit, and then you come back, you'd have to make sure you're still on this kick. But that is another good reason why I waited. So while we're on this kick, just underneath, we've got things like velocity that will decide if you're placing a kick in there, right? Decay, how long that decay is going to roll for. If we take out this kick here, you can see that's cutting the decay of that kick. And this one here. So this is your decay level, but the thing to keep in mind is this decay here works off whatever decay you have set for this drum. So when it's at the maximum, 100% in the sequencer, when it's up like this at 100%, it's hitting this point here. So if I turn this down, come back to our sequencer, this is still at 100%, but you can see that decay is getting cut off, and we can take it even further. Right? So just keep that in mind. Let's bring this decay back up. Along the bottom here we have pitch, so we can go in here and change individual pitch of these kicks. So you can get things marching along and changing in pitch. Now there's no double tap to bring back these to 0. It kind of, people can say they want it, but I think what's been implemented here, you can see as I drag it up and down, it's kind of like these little points it stops at. So you're going to easily be able to get back to where you want to bring these back. Much better than double clicking would probably just cause a lot of problems. Let's move over to our snare and our velocity. Let's add in a couple of snares here. Right, and we'll talk about the flam button. So most of you will know what a flam is on a kit. I'll show you what it is when I drag this up. Right, so we've got different levels of flams. We can take this snare hit here. We've also got the ability to add a roll. So these are all across the bottom. Velocity to add a beat in there, decay, pitch, flam, roll. Let's add a roll onto this snare. So we've got little rolls in there we can do. And last but not least, we have chance and intensity. So the way these work, just so you know, is you need to have this vocab down, this part of the generative section here, because whenever you're using the mutate and vocab, the generative stuff, it overrides the chance and intensity. So it's important to be aware of this. Chance, of course, is going to take away the chance that that snare could be hit or whatever instrument, and the intensity is going to change in combination with that chance, the intensity of the hit, if there's a chance that it does get hit, yeah? So you've got your percentages, but I find I'm really not using these. I'm using a lot of this stuff down here. The generative stuff is so much fun, yeah? I'm going to bring this back up. Okay, so we've got a pretty simple beat happening here. Let's add in some hi-hats. Make sure we're on velocity. Just drawing these in. And we can come in to this hi-hat. Take out some of that decay if you want. Hey, what's going on, Rat? We can change this to a shuffle down the bottom here. We've got a regular and half time. Let's go back to straight. All right, let's get into some generative stuff. We'll talk about all this. Sorry, before we jump into that, you can clear any of this at any time as well too. So you'll see these controls down here: clear, random, left and right, up, down, invert, and reverse. Let's just focus on the hi-hat for now. So the way these work, these are all of these buttons work dependent on which drum piece you have selected. So if I hit hi-hat and then hit clear, it's going to clear the hi-hat. But the snares and the kicks will all still be here, right? So these controls are for individual tracks. Now, if I hit random, it's going to give me a whole bunch of hi-hats. I can clear this, add them back with another random. I can move these left and right. Move them back. I can lift them all up in volume all at once by hitting up, or move them all down in volume by hitting down. I can invert, so they're all around the other way now, and can even reverse. So lots of options. Let's clear that out. All right, let's take a break for a moment because it's a bit over our halfway point. You got to pay for it, Rhett. I just became a paid member of ChatGPT and ditched Midjourney after a couple of years. I haven't had one warning yet for generating stuff, so that's cool. Anyway, it's our halfway point, folks. At the halfway point of each day, we run an ad, and that ad allows me to go back later on and put the ad in, because YouTube just want to put them everywhere, and I don't want that. So I can go back and put that in, and you all get the ad during the live stream at the same time. You can avoid the ad by becoming a YouTube Premium subscriber or by skipping the ad. The ad has been run. You may or may not get an ad. But while we're waiting, I just want to let you know some things that are coming up tomorrow on the show. We're looking at Font Stack by 4 Pockets. Very, very fun app. Absolutely fun as fuck, as they say. I really love this. Also, things that are coming up on Thursday. Yes, Thursday US UK time. The Odd Couple rant is back with me and my friend Pete Johns here. And we're going to be doing a big deep dive into the overall effect on artificial intelligence on all of us. That's going to be the super chat, yeah, because I did a big thing on dead internet theory. Pete did a thing last week on AI, and we're going to come together and lay it all out, where we're heading with this shit. It's pretty scary, actually, but fun at the same time. All right, and there's a whole bunch of demos that will be coming up on the channel as pre-records, and as I said, we've got the Brad example kickoff for Walk With Me coming out. Look at this great picture I made with ChatGPT, which took a photo of Brad outside of Flinders Street Station and turned it into an 8-bit image. That's so cool, man. Like, stuff like that's really cool, I reckon. And even the photo of where's this one? Jenny, Russ, Ivan Idea, Brad example, all hanging out, Ron and Jenny. Look, and we turned them into Simpsons characters. So cool. Just that stuff's really cool, I reckon. Anyway, let's get back into this, where time is of the essence. I want to show this generative stuff here. So let's clear all this out. So we've already showed you how to clear, random, do all this stuff down here. Let's go to my presets and choose my initial patch that's mapped. So here's the deal. If I've got nothing in here, we start off with a complete clean patch. I've got nothing in, so you can see I'm clicking all these. There's no sequencer, there's no data, nothing's in here. That's all cool. Now if I hit play, it's not going to make any sounds. This is where it gets fun though. This little mutate button, we're focusing down here now. This mutate button is just wild. If I start to turn this up a little bit, it's going to start playing stuff in, but it's not putting the notes into the sequencer. Turn it up a little bit more. As you can see, it's not putting any notes in. It's not recording any notes. All the way up. So the mutate button is your key to mutating sounds, and there's a few options we'll get to. These two dials work hand in hand with the mutate. Now you see, if I pull these down, the vocab and the soul, there's a whole lot going on there. You're kind of getting, though, a whole lot of all the instruments being played, but they kind of feel like all their decays are the loudest, the highest possible, so you're not getting that real human feel. Where this, the vocab, just makes it human, in my opinion. Now, I don't actually know exactly what the soul button is for, but I guess, I'm just guessing, it gives you a bit of soul. But these all work hand in hand with each other. Now, I said earlier, with the chance and intensity, these become irrelevant when these are turned up, these become absolutely irrelevant. They're nothing, yeah? Because these are in control of all this kind of stuff. But there's also this solo button here. And watch what happens when I turn up the solo button. It almost is like a jazz drummer breaking into a quick solo and then back to the beat, right? And then back to the beat. And what's really cool is this solo button has a whole lot of options down here in this drop box. You can set it to run singles. Soul will vary the velocity, while soul down mainly uses loud notes and soft notes, but each loud note is equally loud. There is no human variance. Thank you so much for that. So let's turn up solo with singles in here. So these are different drumming techniques that you can choose for these solos. Let's change this to rolling and listen to what happens. Hear that? The snares getting these rolls going on. Wicked, man. And you can pull back the vocab, even the mutate, so there's more space in there. And then back into your beat. So for real-time performance, this is just fucking bonkers. I love it. We've also got, oops, don't do that to me. We've also got flams. So if we bring up the solo now, we've got RLK 4-2, and then we've just got random stuff for the solo. So you can introduce a little bit of solo in there. and then back out. Now remember, all this too can be MIDI mapped as well, so you can get pretty serious about this stuff, yeah? Of course, parameters are all open up here as well too. Global stuff, look at it all, it's all down here. Yeah, sorry, I should go into that. RLK is the right-left kick. So look, all the parameters are fucking open. You want to come in here and connect shit, go for it. It's all up to you. Let's talk about this glitch stuff over here. So this is really cool. So as you've noticed, I started this with no pattern in here. All I've done is turn up the mutate, right? So, but if I come in here now and actually put something in, let's put in just a simple 4 kicks. We'll come in and put a couple of snares. We'll just randomly put in some hi-hats. And we've got our mutate down at the moment. So now if I hit play, right, we're just getting whatever beat we've drawn into the sequencer. But with the mutate, it's going to slightly mutate it how much you want, yeah? And again, pull it back, it's going to go back to your pretty standard beat. Down here we have the option to change from glitch to mutate to overwrite. Let's change it to mutate and see what happens when we turn up the mutate. My favorite one is overwrite. So we've just changed this to overwrite, and I'm going to clear this out just to show you how overwrite works. Let's choose initial mapped, and we'll set this to overwrite. And when I hit play, there's nothing, right? Nothing's in here. The difference between overwrite and the mutate and the glitch buttons is this actually writes to track. So as I turn up the mutate, it's writing to track. All of the parts are getting written to track, possibly. And they will overwrite each time. You can see as they're going back and forward. So you've got the power to overwrite as well. And again, you can start this like I just did then with nothing. Just turn up the mutate, set it to overwrite, hit play, and it's just going to start putting in stuff. We can add a solo in there. The ride crash toms cowbell are used in solo mode when the vocab is up. Right. So let's just quickly talk about the ride, hi-hat and cowbell. So as I turn this one up, sorry, toms and crash are only used in solo mode when the vocab is up. We're moving now. When I move this over, we have this set to the ride, or a combination of ride and cowbell, or hi-hats. Or a combination of cowbell and hi-hats. Where are we at? We can turn off the sync as well, or turn it back on. All right, let's quickly cover something else. Then we'll get to the channels. We'll come back to our sequencer while we're on our sequencer here. Vocab down, we'll use the chance setting of the sequencer. The default chance for each is 0.5, so each drum instrument has a 50% chance of hit. And the vocab is down, yeah. So I just want to talk about, you've got pages here as well too. So you've got up to 8 pages, so you can set different drum beats in here. And say I like this, what I've got here, these kicks and snares, I can come in here and I can click on P1, hit copy up the top here, come over to P2, and I can paste this in, and then I could come back and make this just a glitch, turn that down, and come in here and draw a whole bunch of stuff in. We can put like a couple of rides in this one, P2, put a crash at the start, we'll check some toms randomly in here. So then if I hit P1 and P2, we've got nothing in here now because there's no, we're set to glitch. So if I hit play, oh, we do have stuff. And then I hit P2, we've got a totally different. So you can copy and paste these between each other. So I could take now P2, hit copy, come over to P3, and I can paste this in here as well. So, and then down the bottom here, we have a manual change for these Ps. So we can set this to manual, or we can hit it to sequential, sorry. So when we hit play now, they should move through to number 2, to number 3. And if there's only 3 that have been created in here, they will get to the end of 3 and go back to 1, right? So that's how that works. Plus we also have a random switch down here as well. So if we hit play, it will randomly bounce between. So you can see it's gone back to P2, back to 3. So you've got all of that there. Channels. Let's quickly go over to channels, and then we'll have to get out of here for today. We're at the hour mark almost. I just want to cover one more thing in Logic once we do this. So, of course, we can solo stuff. We can mute stuff. We can mute that out. Let's just go back to manual here. We can individually come in and change the pitch of these hats. Let's solo them. We've got pitch controls in here as well. And we've got these decay controls. So these decay controls can override. My memory is gone today for exactly how these decay things work. I think they override. Oh, God. They override something within the sequencer. I think that's right, but don't quote me. It's early in the morning, and my brain's so full of shit at the moment. So maybe Jan can help me. You've got steps, as I said, so you've got all that kind of stuff. And pretty easy as, let's come back up here to our settings. This is where you can control what bus has what in it. So we can have, you've got default bus settings, unmixed bus settings, assign 16 pads to 16 buses. So you can come in here and add all these to the tracks here. Pitch up and decay overwrite when mutate is up. There you go. See, I knew I'd get something wrong. So there we go. Thanks for that, Jan. I knew I'd forget something today. So when the mutate is up, the pitch and the decay will be affected, yeah? So you can hear the pitch is being affected. And when I turn off the decay, so if we go over to like a snare here, you can hear the pitch is going up with it, and the decay has been affected by the mutate button. All right, so all in all, really fun stuff, really cool. I just love the whole mutate stuff. What I would like, now, let's just bounce over to Logic. Because I use Logic, so I really want to use this in here, but I'm unable to. And I guess it's a Logic thing. I don't know what can be done. So here we've got this, the guitar and bass that I started with today. And here I've got Jamp Percussive on this middle track. Hey, Del. So here it is loaded. My problem is I want to record this stuff in. Now, I don't know what it is with Logic and some of these apps, but even if I hit record and want to play the notes in, because you can only load this as a MIDI track, right? As a MIDI instrument. If I hit record to record some of this in, it doesn't register any of it, right? So let's just hit record. Oh, it is now. What am I talking about? So I can go in and record stuff in there, so that's no problem at all. I can go in and record, but I have to play notes. It won't record any of the stuff from the sequencer. So if we just go in here and hit record, it's not recording any of the stuff from the sequencer. Now, normally I would try and find a workaround for this and maybe even come over here and, I don't know, load this in as a MIDI effects. Yeah. But it's not showing up as a MIDI effect inside of Logic. But if I come over here to AUM, I can load it as a MIDI effect in here. And can send those notes out to any other drum machine or anything like that. So you can do that in here, but in Logic, I can't do it. I don't understand. Is there a way to get this to happen or such? And so the only way, as I see it at the moment, if I want to record some of this stuff, say this drum pattern in live, let's just quickly kill that. I'm going to kill this. And well, I'm just going to create a, I'm just going to come in here and stretch this out a bit more. Let's just go to there. Stretch these out. I guess I can route it into a sub. So let's do that. So we've got our track here. I'm going to create a new audio track. So we've got this audio track underneath. Bring up our mixer, go into edit mode. I'll do this full screen so you can see what's happening. Going into edit mode. Here's our track. Oops, we're in edit mode. Right, so here's our MIDI track with percussive. I'm going to create a send, create a bus, new bus. Here's our bus. I'm going to turn this up so it's sending out data. There's our here's our bus, and we want this bus to go into input 1 over here. We'll choose the untitled bus. So now I should be able to record and play by setting record and hitting record. Right. And then live, I guess I can come in here. Right, so there we go. So I just go in here. There's our track. Now I don't need this anymore. I can mute it because I've now got my drums that I wanted, and I performed live and added some generative stuff at the end there. And it's all here. So that's the best way to do it at the moment. I just wish, and there's a whole lot of apps this happens to, I just wish that you could just load it as a MIDI. It's a sequencer and it just plays in. That would be so but it's a fuck around. So there we go. Wicked stuff. I was really, really pleasantly surprised by this app. I didn't know what to expect. I saw some of the images of it before I got it and was like, what the hell is that? And the more I played with it, the more fun I had. I ended up playing with it for like 3 hours just making beats and not putting anything else to it. So there's that. Let's come over here and wrap this show up. So as I said, Jamp Percussive is available now on the App Store. It's free to download. It'll have a few seconds of nothing every now and again, just so you can demo it. If you want to pay for it, it is $7.99 for the in-app purchase. It's one price, unlocks, and you're good to go. And that is it. All happy in the hood. Tomorrow we're going to be taking a look at the new 4 Pockets app, which is right here. Font Stack. It is a sound font player, and it's really nice. It's definitely fun. The other shows we got coming up, we got a couple that are going to drop today or tomorrow. One today, one tomorrow. We're looking at the new Cubasis update. We got Blease have their new app too. If I can find them all. These are the things you should be watching out for on the channel. Blease Tides. We'll take a look at that this week. We'll take a look at RES09. These are all going to be pre-recorded. Happy days. And as I said, Cubasis. What else? I can't remember. But there's a whole lot of stuff coming up. Great work, Jan, as always. Let's get out of here for the day, folks. Go and make some music, have some fun, do the things that make you happy. Mistakes make you better. We'll all rise together, stay awake, and let's Oj and all that jazz. I'm going to be working on Brad's Walk With Me stuff and some pre-recorded stuff today. And Pete Johns is joining us at the end of this week. All right. You ready? You ready? Go.